But it's such a big topic. And hi, Kara.
Hi,
Um,
everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to the weekly pet roundup.
welcome, welcome. So, yes, we are continuing the talk from last week about canine cancer awareness, um, wrapping up the month because it was Canine Cancer Awareness Month in November. And I don't know, do you want to do like a recap of last week and then jump into what we didn't get to, or how do you? I don't know.
Yeah, well, last week we mostly talked about how lifestyle impacts the risk factors, right? So we talked about how, yes,
Yes.
genetics plays a part, but if we take some steps, we can reduce our pet's risk. So really not putting onus on you in the sense that if you've had a pet with cancer, it's all your fault. That's not what we're saying. But as we know more and as pet cancer diagnoses rates rise, we are now learning how much of our lifestyle impacts their risk factors. So, like we talked about environmental risks inside and outside the home. We talked about obesity and how it plays a huge role in like raising your pet's risk. We talked about just like the lack of exercise, how that can also impact your pet's immune system. We talked about a lot of things that really were, important for us to kind of maybe make one or two a priority.
Yeah.
Um, so Diana Co says, I've had two cats die with cancer since January 2022. I don't use perfumes, no smoke, no air fresheners. So those are some of the things that we talked about. And yes, I agree with you. Like, I haven't used any of those in a long, long time, but it's like we can only control so much of what our pets are exposed to. So what we talked about was the things that we can control. Second and third hand smoke. If you don't know what third hand smoke is, that was an interesting one for me when I became a parent, because like even if somebody's not smoking, but there's like a car where somebody smoked at some point, that's third hand smoke. So it's not like you're not smoking, nobody's smoking next to you, but the chemicals are still either in like the upholstery you're sitting on or in the vehicle you're riding in. So third hand smoke, those things really do impact your exposure, right? Like, I mean, and it's really sucks because we can control if we're at the airport, waiting for somebody to pick us up, somebody's smoking, we can move away from them. But like if we get in like a hotel room where they used to smoke,
Yeah.
even if you don't smell it, you're still being exposed to these things. So that's what third hand smoke is. But also perfumes, dyes, things like that. Those are only part of the equation. So there are also medications that we talked about that have like, they have like the potential side effect in studies in rats, this accelerated cancer growth, XYZ. So keeping our pets healthy is a really good way, like, and off of medications for chronic illnesses is a really good way to, reduce their risk. And of course, because Jessica is a nutritionist for dogs and cats, that's what she does. She talked about the importance of food. And that's kind of what we're doing now is we're discussing again diet and its impact, but also how the body reacts to what we feed it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you take over from here.
Well, yeah, we did. We talked about so many things, and um, so many other things popped into my head as you were like running down the list of things that we talked about because like we could go in so many different tangents, and it is hard. Like I don't know if I shared this reel on my Instagram or not, but I know I sent it to a friend of mine, and it was like I think I did share it. It was kind of, just sarcastically this guy on a health podcast. So he was a guest on a health podcast. So it was kind of sarcastic in his like approach, but he was like, there's literally everything around us is killing us, and we are so overwhelmed with the learning, with that doing, with the trying to put everything into place that we are learning, because every time we turn around, there is something else that's killing us. And I mean, that's just a sad reality of our world today. And hopefully, with enough people waking up to that fact, we can start to change that because it is consumer demand. all of it is consumer demand. And if we stop by, interestingly, I just saw another TikTok earlier today, and it was kind of these two women, and they were, a like memorized speech where they were going back and forth and talking about, but they said that studies have shown that if women stop buying cosmetic products, the entire economy would collapse. Hey, Bronwyn.
Hi, Bronwyn. OMG. If women stopped buying
Cosmetic
cosmetics,
products. So, like lotions and skincare and makeup, perfumes, like all of it. Even the toxic, we're putting toxic chemicals inside of us when we are menstruating. You know what I mean? Like all of the things. And if we just stopped,
oh my gosh,
the economy would very likely collapse. Because it's such a big industry, and we are sold as women. And I think this is an important conversation to have around, even though we're talking about pet cancer, there is so much of an overlap. And I will say this going in, I have even talked to pet parent clients of mine, like who are interested in getting nitty gritty. I'm talking to them about the lotions that they're putting on. Are you on like a cream, hormone replacement therapy? Because if that transfers and gets onto your pet, so like we can get really nitty gritty, and it all matters. And but women, we are marketed to, and they're marketing to us in the pet industry as well. Make no doubt about it. Our pets are not the ones looking at the food dyes on the kibble bag and saying, yes, that's what I want you to buy for me, right? So women are the ones that are being marketed to, right, for all of the cosmetics, for all of it. We're constantly being told that we're not enough, that we're not pretty enough, that we're not smart enough, that our eyelashes are not long enough, that our cheeks aren't bony enough, that our lips aren't full enough, literally everything. And it really does make a difference if we just stand up and say, no, I am enough and it's okay. And then you don't have to buy all these things, and then you're not bringing all of these toxins into your home. And I got on a tangent there, but it is.
Wow. Like... No, it's true. And actually, Bronwyn is saying, if your pets are being diagnosed with cancer, we need to be looking at you too. Like, yes, if there is cancer in our home, anybody, we need to consider. And of course, like, there's no way to know what started that process in our bodies, right? Like, there's no way to pinpoint, but there is an opportunity there to kind of start looking at it a little bit more carefully, at what we're being exposed to, what is happening in our home that may be putting us at risk too. So yes, Dianco says, my first cat had bowel cancer, and my second had a mass in the liver, a sarcoma. And the liver is one of the organs that is most taxed on all of us, not just our pets, just everybody. Yeah. And that is the detoxifying organ. And if all we're doing is taking on, toxins, whether in our food, in our medications, of course our liver is going to take the beating. Off-gassing from fire retardant furniture, yes. Mm-hmm. Like, I learned that so much when I became a mom, and I'm shopping for car seats. And did you know that car seats are like doused in fire retardant furniture, in like that chemical? By the time that the car seat is enveloped in flames, your child is gone. So really, we need to be asking ourselves, like, did that car seat really need that? Because there's no way that that's going to help my child, but it is exposing them every single time I put them in that car seat to chemicals that are known endocrine disruptors and potential carcinogens. So I went with a brand that did not have that, because it's not required. Somebody just used it as a marketing ploy sometime in the past, and it just kind of caught on in the industry, and it's just there. And like, it's a fire retardant furniture. Like, I mean, if I'm sitting in my furniture and I see that there's a fire, by the time that the fire retardant on my couch helps me, I'm not doused in fire retardant, right? So like, it protects the couch, but not me. So what's the point? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but we keep using these things just like the pajamas that they like baby pajamas now they have to in the I think it was the 1970s that they because people were falling asleep with their cigarettes and their babies and babies were getting burned. So they started putting fire retardant on pajamas for a certain age. I can't remember what age it goes up to, but infants mostly. And so now when I buy pajamas, I look for the label that says does not have fire retardant on it because I have to look for what it doesn't have because the industry standard is the fire retardant. And when you don't know, now you're thinking, oh, this is dangerous because it doesn't have fire retardant. When you're not thinking,
Yeah.
like by the time that my kid is enveloped and like engulfed in flames, like the pajama's not doing anything.
Yeah. Yes. So, and that's probably a good place to start. So we talked a lot about the statistics and all of the things going wrong in the environment last week. So I think this week maybe, I mean, we'll still talk about what's going wrong, but kind of in a prevention aspect of how we can be more preventative in our everyday lives. So if you start, one of the things you just said, you're looking for what's not in there. And that is something that we all have to retrain ourselves to do with literally everything we're buying. And one of the biggest things that I think of outside of food, because ideally I don't want any synthetics in my food, and we can talk about that in a minute, but with our supplements, there are so many supplements on the market, not just for humans, but for pets. So if we just stick with pets, I think the pet industry is even worse than the human industry in a lot of cases, certainly in food. And so we need to be not just looking at, okay, what are the active ingredients? Are these things in alignment with what I actually am buying the supplement for? But we need to look at those inactive ingredients. And we also need to be paying attention to, especially with things like bioaccumulators, the certificate of analysis showing that it isn't loaded with heavy metals. It isn't toxic. It doesn't have, well, it depends on the product, but we don't want to see a lot of fillers. There's no need for them. You're paying for fillers. So I'm sorry, I'm blurry is what people are saying. It's probably my internet, because I've been having some problems with internet today, so I apologize.
Same here. Same here. I think it's all of Texas. I think we're all like having issues with our internet.
Mercury went retrograde today, so
it's going retrograde right now. Like literally right now.
Like right now today, it's going retrograde. So we do need to be paying as much attention to what is not in the products as what is in the product. So for example, if I'm looking at a product because, I don't know, I'm looking for joint support. So I'm looking for like collagen and chondroitin, maybe some, green lipped muscle, that would be wonderful. Those are all wonderful things, but look at all the fillers, look at all of the inactive ingredients. Like I certainly don't want to see like wood pulp. I don't want to see a lot of corn, rice, oats, flours. Like, why? You're paying for that. So we can be a lot more picky about the type of product we're buying. We can also use food in a lot of these instances. So you're looking for joint support. I mentioned green lip mussels, bone broth and green lip mussels. Put those together, you've got amazing joint support in that. I'm hearing myself echoing, so I don't know if anybody else is hearing me echo. I just am throwing that out there. And then we started talking a little bit, well, before I jump into that, Bronwyn said, why do our vets not speak more about our lymphatic system in regards to pet cancers? I don't know. I think our lymphatic system is often overlooked. In fact, it's something I'm currently working on for myself as well. It's one of the things that we do talk about with detoxing, because we don't want to detox if our drainage pathways aren't open. We can cause more problems than what we originally started with. And I think that is certainly part of, any sort of cancer protocol is detoxing. And so we do want are, I mean, we have, what are the 5 pathways? We've got the skin, the lungs. I don't even remember all of the 5 detox pathways off the top of my head. Um, the skin, the lungs, the,
I
I don't
mean,
know. They're
urine,
they're in my head.
urine, right? Would it be urine,
They're in my
the
head
bladder,
somewhere.
the colon, the
Let me
I
look
know
it
that
up.
for
I was
women, like
literally,
women and for any moms, whether whatever mammal, detox pathway is our placenta and um our mammary glands too. So like we're detoxing into these babies, which is terrible.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, so liver, oh, my internet is so slow.
I can look it up.
Liver, kidneys, skin, lungs, and
The bladder, well, the kidneys is the urine. Okay, and how about
I
the
don't know.
digestive system?
The
The
GI
poop,
tract, it's telling me. Yeah.
poop.
So the GI
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
Yes. So all of that. And for me personally, we may not see it in the same way with our pets, but like for me personally, I notice it when like I take my socks off and I have a ring, around my skin, like this indentation. I'm like, crap, I need to work on my lymphatic drainage.
Lymphatic drainage.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it is like so acupuncture, massage, maybe depending if your pet has cancer, you do need to be careful with this. Sometimes we can use pulsed electromagnetic frequency. Sometimes we can't, depending on the type of cancer. Did I say massage? Massage is good.
Yes.
Glutathione, which we can get, is, we can make if we're eating the right foods. So again, going back to diet, our diet is so important. And we talked a little bit about like the last week about how sadly there's like this asterisk around our food, because we do feel so very privileged if we are able to eat organic, if we are able to eat pasture raised. But those are actually really, really important, um, for any chronic disease state, cancer included, because it can often be like that linchpin, that one thing that makes the difference, that you've done all these things and it can be that one thing that like make or breaks your protocol. Um, but fasting is where we left off last week. And that is such a big topic. But it is also really, really beneficial. And not only fasting, so we were talking about putting our bodies in a state of ketosis. Oh, Bronwyn said, okay, liver, skin, gut, kidney, lung, colon. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's 6. I thought it was 5. It's 6. So Dr. Kendra Pope was actually talking recently about, yes, ketogenic diets are actually really beneficial, but she likes to pulse between ketogenic diets and high protein diets. And I think most of us who have done any extensive studying on ketogenic diets have found at some point in time that like extended, prolonged use of a ketogenic diet may not be as beneficial as we once thought. So pulsing and rotating between a high fat, or at least a 1-to-1, sometimes higher fat, but at least a 1-to-1 ketogenic diet and then a higher protein diet can be beneficial.
Would you mind explaining the difference between keto versus high protein, please?
Yeah, so a ketogenic diet is going to be at least a 1-to-1 ratio in the calorie content of protein and fat. There is protein is my brain is malfunctioning. 4 calories per something. I'm trying to remember the measurement now. I sound horrible. I should know this off the top of my head. 4 calories per, I don't know, maybe gram of, I'm going to go with gram, and then I'm going to look it up and feel dumb, of food, of protein, 4 calories,
Okay.
9 grams, or I'm sorry, 9 calories for fat. So you're close to like 50%, like however much protein you're eating, you're like 50% roughly of the amount of protein you're eating in fat. So it's a pretty high fat diet.
High fat. Okay.
Um, but sometimes, and some people, some ketogenic diets will go above that, greater than a 1-to-1. Um, it can, it really can vary. And this is where we talk about, you know, individualization is so important, and knowing your dog and tracking and journaling. But even if you're doing this for yourself, tracking, journaling, knowing your body, knowing how you feel, watching your dog's poop. We've talked about this so many times. It's so important to know what's
Yes.
going on
Always
in
look
their
at the pet
body.
poop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but basically the idea, and the reason why it's not so important to stick to like, is it a 1-to-1? Is it a 1 to 1.1, 1 to 1.5? Why that isn't as important, that's like a general guideline. What's actually important is if the body is producing ketones. So if the body is actually using, yeah, so Bronwyn is saying she specializes in cancer in dogs. And she is, again, talking about how we are feeding the dog in front of us, and she either does a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2, depending on if they can handle it. And that is an important thing, because fat tolerance is something that not all dogs have. So a dog could potentially have had, chronic pancreatitis its whole life, and never been properly treated for it, and may not be as fat adept. And so it is more difficult with some dogs. But again, you're working with a dog in front of you. What's important, and you can actually test this through like a simple blood test. It's similar to like a blood glucose monitor, but it's a ketone monitor, where you do like a little pinprick and get a little bit of blood and test the ketones in the blood. So if you're a super, super dedicated pet parent, you could do this at home. And the important part is that our cells are not producing energy from the carbs and the sugars in the diet, but they're producing energy from the fat in the diet. And that's what ketosis is, where we are, all of us, humans, cats, dogs, have the ability to both make energy from carbs and sugars and fats. And it's actually optimal for our bodies to burn energy, burn fuel on fats. It's much healthier for us. We have the ability, cats have less, I think cats are obligate carnivores, so we always have to kind of put them in a class of themselves on their own. So everything we say for humans and dogs, we kind of have a little asterisk by it. Like, it may work for a cat, but we may need to optimize this a little bit better for a cat. But that is the important part. And then on the other hand, for a high protein diet, we're going to lower the fat slightly, certainly carbs. We should be less focused on what is the ratio from protein to fat, and more focused on keeping those carbohydrates really, 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 really low. And ideally only getting carbohydrates from plant sources. So nature's carbohydrates, those are the only, and we need to be really, really picky about those low glycemic, preferably veggies that we're doing, keeping as much sugar, as much carbohydrate as possible out of the diet, because we don't want to feed the cancer cells. Because that's the thing with a cancer cell, that some people probably understand this. A lot of people probably don't. We talked last week about the fact that we all have cancer cells in our bodies all the time. But generally speaking, as long as we're healthy enough, our immune system is keeping all of that under control. And the only difference really in a healthy cell and a cancer cell is that like it kind of starts out like it would almost be the same thing, except it doesn't act the same. It acts like a zombie kind of, where it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And whereas in a normal cell life, it serves its purpose and then it dies off. Our body cleans it out of our body. Once it dies off, these cancer cells don't do that. So we have to be intentional about killing them if our immune system isn't up to the task of doing it itself. That's a very like cancer for dummies explanation, but
I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic explanation. I just tagged Dulce's. Is it Dulce or Dolce? Dulce's
Dulce.
Legacy. Both
Dulce.
On everywhere. Just yeah, Dulce. Because I want to say it in Italian. Dolce. La Dolce Vita. But Bronwyn has a very important story to share about her dog's experience with cancer and what fuels her work today. So I haven't had her on my show yet, Bronwyn. We have to do that so I can learn it from you and not just from your About Us page. Dulce. Okay, it's Dulce.
Dulce.
Okay.
Dulce.
See, thank you for that. Okay, so it's not Dolce Vita like I was pretending it to be. And I think that it's people, I think we all kind of know what cancer is and how it functions, and we just know we don't want it. Like, I think that's pretty much, we don't want it, but we don't want to make the lifestyle changes that really like keeps it at bay. And the good thing that I said, like I always say this, and I just interviewed somebody and I talked about the same thing when we talked about obesity, is we control what our pets eat. So that makes it a lot easier than us fighting ourselves about that cupcake we really shouldn't be having, or that, that cocktail that we don't need. It really makes it so much easier that we're controlling what they can eat, because they can't open the fridge and help themselves to like, a can of tuna or like a bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
So
very
it really
true.
is like, it really is up to us, and we have the resources. We have people like Jessica, we have people like Bronwyn, we have experts that are going to help us create like a toxic environment in our pets' bodies for cancer, right? Like what we want is for the cancer to feel very unwelcome, very, very uncomfortable, so that it can not continue to grow.
Yes.
That is basically the goal that we all know about. But like, can you give us some practical ways that you help people make the body a little less hospitable?
Yes. So one of the things I like to do, and this is for with or without diagnosis, is HTMA testing. This is something that you can do from the comfort of your home. And one of the great things about HTMA testing, this is hair tissue mineral analysis testing, is that we are looking at toxins in the body, like heavy metals. We are looking for nutrient absorption. We're looking at different nutrient levels. One of which that we need to pay particular attention to is vitamin D. I think we've all gotten a huge dose of education on vitamin D in the past 4 or 5 years, and how important that is to all of our bodies for disease prevention. And I say this in conjunction with the HTMA testing. You can get just a vitamin D test, but I think for the money, go ahead and do the HTMA instead of the single vitamin D testing, because you're going to pay almost as much for the vitamin D test as you would for the HTMA. And if somebody wants to reach out to me, I absolutely love Parsley Pet and would love to send you an affiliate link for that. I do use affiliate links, but not because like I only use them for products that I absolutely am in love with. I'm going to recommend whatever is best for your pet, and it just so happens if somebody has an affiliate link, I will send it to you. But yeah,
there is no
vitamin
reason
D.
why anybody should be turned off by somebody recommending an affiliate link, especially if you trust them and they have like, certifications and stuff. That should be something that almost is not a deterrent, but rather something that appeals to you, because if they're recommending it and they're putting,
Well,
they're really supporting this brand. And we as creators need to support ourselves. So that is
yeah.
why it is a win-win for everybody. So I remember telling somebody in the pet industry that they're a creator and that they should do more affiliate links. And they were of the mind that they were going to turn people off. That should never be a turn off. Like it should be just part of what you think of as the general message of the creator. Like if you trust them here, there, and everywhere, there's no reason why you shouldn't trust their affiliate link. If you don't trust them, and if you think that their stuff is a little sketchy, then don't use the affiliate link. But don't ever judge people for having affiliate links. I think
Yeah,
for me, it's like I want to support the creators. The creators that I love, I want to support them because I know that there's not a lot of money in educating the public for free. And so that's
yeah,
like something I try to do to support. And Bronwyn says the same thing. She says
yeah,
she's notoriously cruel when it comes to who she recommends. Jessica is as well. Like
yeah.
it's if they're putting their names behind it, even with an affiliate link, you can trust that this is a positive product for your pet and your life.
Yeah. And Apple the Golden, who just got a new puppy, and I'm trying to remember, it's Maple something. Please remind me. The new puppy. I'm super excited for you. Curious if the HTMA test for vitamin D is as accurate as a blood test. So I have talked quite a bit with Chelsea Kent, who owns Parsley Pet, and she is very confident in the testing, the HTMA testing that they do, and the results that they're getting. And she has a huge database to kind of back her up. Maple cider. I knew it was maple something.
Maple
So
cider, so cute. Hi,
there are
Diane.
certain people, as Isabel was saying, in the pet space that I trust over and above a lot of other people. And Chelsea Kent is one of those. And in fact, she was on my
Yes,
podcast last
and
week.
so does
Yeah.
Bronwyn. Bronwyn says that
Yes.
she loves her.
In person.
Bronwyn also loves her. So you have two recommendations there. And then Bronwyn does say, do not wait to make changes to your pets' lives until there is an issue. Make
Absolutely.
changes now. And that's a thank you for that, because that's exactly why we are here on Mondays to
Doing
share
this.
these things
Yeah.
with you, because we're all about prevention, she and I, Jessica. Like
Yes.
that's one of the things that's always bonded us, is that we are proactive, we are preventive, and we are those people that are trying to make better choices every single day, even if we fall flat on our face while we try, and we hope that we bring you some, some tidbits that can help you do the same.
Um, yes. So HTMA testing is like one of the number one things that I would want to do, especially if I'm talking about prevention, but even if we're talking about after diagnosis. Microbiome testing is another one that I love because it all happens. I mean, we're talking 70 to 80% of the immune system is in the gut. We have got to get, I mean, we talk about gut health so much. And obviously we want to do as much as possible with food and feeding fresh food, which we have talked about ad nauseum and will continue to do so because it's my favorite thing to talk about. But microbiome testing can allow us to make adjustments where we might otherwise not realize adjustments need to be made. For example, my dog Kimberly, she has been raw fed since the day I adopted her almost 9 years ago. And I tested her microbiome and it was not balanced because I needed to make some adjustments. And so it's okay to think you're doing everything right and get a test and realize you haven't been doing everything right. It's totally fine. Like, okay, just make some tweaks. Don't beat yourself up. You don't know what you don't know. The other thing is omega-3 testing or omega testing. So many of us, our pets especially, are going to be deficient in omega-3s, or the omega-6 that we are ingesting every day far exceeds our omega-3s. The other thing with, I will just kind of put like a little asterisk next to any sort of omega-3 supplementation, because not enough people are talking about this, is when we do supplement omega-3s, we also need to be supplementing vitamin E. Omega-3s, especially at higher doses in the body, can deplete vitamin E. So we need to be supplementing vitamin E when we are also supplementing omega-3s, which is something I would want to do for cancer anyway, most likely, because vitamin E is going to, again, we would do the HTMA testing to make sure, because vitamin E is fat soluble, but vitamin E is going to fight free radicals. It's going to fight oxidation in the body. It's going to help a lot with just bringing inflammation down in the body, similarly to omega-3s. Exercise, like we've already mentioned last week, and Isabel talked about a little bit at the beginning, exercise, grounding, being out in nature. So the frequency of the earth literally changes the frequency in our bodies. It helps with oxidative damage. It fights free radicals. We are literally, like, if you have ever had your dog running around outside and they come back inside and they jump and you're cuddling with them, and you just get this like burst of like, you don't know what that is. It's the like ions from them actually having been outside and grounding, and they are transferring those onto you. It's really an incredible thing. And it's free. Ideally, we're doing this in and on healthy soil that isn't, contaminated with all kinds of chemicals and glyphosate and whatever else. Something else that is free is being very much aware of this, our body's circadian rhythm, our dog's body's circadian rhythm, only eating when the sun is out. So we talked about fasting. We can use the time the sun is out as a feeding window if we need somewhere to start. That's the only time we should be eating. That's the only time our dogs should be eating. And we can shorten that, certainly, because there are different fasting windows for different things and we could do a whole thing on fasting, because there are do's and don'ts with fasting, and that's probably like a whole episode in and of itself. But just be aware that is actually really beneficial, because our digestive system needs an extensive amount of time, hours and hours and hours, to settle down before our body can start a process called autophagy, which is clearing out all the junk in our body. So if we're never giving our bodies a chance to do that, inflammation is going rampant anyway. What did Bronwyn say?
Oh, so Bronwyn, and then she says, I love that I've never thought about that regarding circadian rhythms for dogs. And honestly, I agree. I eat when the sun's down. Should I not be eating when the sun's down?
No. No.
I'm gonna have like the senior, what is it, the early bird specials every night. Okay, all right, I can handle that. All right, and then Bronwyn says, even us as nutritionists require testing. Luna has been with me for 4 years and in February was diagnosed with MCT. Just because I work with cancer doesn't make me immune to it. Your DVMs don't have a crystal ball to see into the body, neither do we. Use the testing as a guideline. We use all of the tools available to us. I love that.
Yeah, it's so important, and that's why testing is so important. And it can be one, and just kind of, again, I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a minute. It can be really difficult when you have a pet parent. So I'm just going to use myself as an example. When I have a pet parent come to me and they're like, they've already spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars chasing something with veterinarians, with specialists, whatever, a lot of times, and I'm just going to put this out there because I both would love and also cringe at the idea of talking about veterinary nutritionists, but I see people that pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for recipes from people that don't work for their dogs. And so they have spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars before they ever find me. And then, of course, I have a fee because this is my time and energy and effort, and then I'm recommending these tests and they're like, okay, now I got to buy the test too. And I know it's hard and I know it's difficult and I know financially it can be really difficult, but just like Bronwyn said, like, we don't have crystal balls, and to be able to really lead you down the right path, I need to know certain things. And it really is going to be more beneficial in the long run, no matter where you're starting at, whether you're starting from a puppy or you are starting at thousands of dollars in vet bills and you feel like you've gotten nowhere. Whatever comes next putting putting time, energy, and yes, money into fixing things right now is going to make everything moving forward so much better. Quality of life, quality of health span.
Agreed.
Very
100%
possibly, very possibly less in vet bills moving forward. So there's so much, like it can be hard. And I just want to say, like, I understand and I empathize with that because I've been there too. I have had those many, many thousands of dollars vet bills in the past. Like, I get it. I'm not immune to what people are going through. But we have to have this information to be accurate in making suggestions moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that you don't even have to like Bronwyn said, you don't wait until you get a diagnosis, but sometimes the body does give us like little hints that something's gone wrong. Allergies are a really good example of that, where like don't wait until, after a million doses of some allergy medication to start working on why is your pet showing these symptoms. Start now, because when you go ahead and you start with the gut microbiome testing, you find something odd there, you work with somebody like Jessica, you get that under control. Now when you've saved a little money, you can go into some kind of omega-3 testing and see where you stand there. And then after that, once you have that kind of under control, now you go into the HTMA testing and you see stuff. So you don't have to do it all at one time if you're proactive. If you wait for a diagnosis, yeah, I mean, you got to throw everything at it, right? And that's when it gets like really scary, really stressful, really expensive. But when your dog's already showing you signs, something chronic, anything chronic, like where it's your pet's chronically throwing up, your pet's chronically having diarrhea, your pet's chronically licking at themselves, those kinds of things are red flags. Yes. Bronwyn says acid reflux, gassy belly, those are not normal and are red flags, as she eats her carrot cake in the dark, says. But it's true, like we kind of like let things go. And what we need to remember is that once we see signs from our pets, usually things are pretty much advanced. So if you start seeing really gassy bellies, like to the point where you can see your pet pacing, now this is a veterinary emergency, right? Whereas 5 months ago, it may have just been like, oof, what's that smell, right? So like really being proactive is the most important thing, because we have to know that they can't tell us what they're feeling. So every sign needs to be a flag. Yeah. Maybe not a red flag, but like a yellow flag, right? Like something that tells us, let's start with one of these tests and go from there.
Yeah. And I think, again, going back to food can either be, and I don't know who started this, it's probably goes back many thousands of years, but food is either the best form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. And so when we think about that, we talk a lot about the base diet, because that is important. But whether we are dealing with a cancer diagnosis or not, we can use things like curcumin, like green tea, like mushrooms. These are really, really wonderful things for reducing inflammation in the body, for fighting free radicals, oxidative stress. And then, of course, there are other herbs, getting into Chinese medicine or even using Western herbs, all of it can be beneficial and topics of their own, because they are so, probably Hippocrates. That's what I was thinking of, Bronwyn.
I think it was Hippocrates. I was thinking that too. It's one of those Greeks back in the day.
Yes, one of those
Roman, Greek,
one of those people.
Philosophers.
But one of the other things that was really interesting to me when I was listening the other day to Dr. Kendra Pope, and I think we were talking last week a little bit about this, was that so many of the cancers that she sees, so many of them are GI cancers. And so nutrient absorption is a problem. And nutrient absorption is something that, again, we talked about with the HTMA testing. If we are doing this earlier on, if we are doing this fairly regularly throughout our dog's lives, we can catch that earlier. We can realize there's a problem earlier, and a lack of nutrient absorption is indicative of a larger problem, and we can get on that quicker, because we ideally would never, we don't ever want to get to the point where we get that cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Oh, it
think
was
that's,
Ann Wigmore. It was Ann Wigmore.
and now we know. That's
Thank
what she said. Yeah.
you
Okay.
for doing that. I
Thank
probably
you.
should have supported Jessica in looking that up, but I was just like listening.
It's okay.
Sorry about that, Jessica. Thank you, Bronwyn.
We need a
Yeah,
we need a
I
Jamie.
have a question. We have a question.
Oh,
We need a
yes.
will you be discussing your thoughts on red light therapy? Asks Sarah Leilani.
So I actually am going to be really honest and say that I need to do more research into that. I know how beneficial it is for humans, and I think it could very well be beneficial for our pets too, but probably not in the same ways, because when I think of, our dogs and our cats, they don't even, because of all of the fur on their bodies, they have, for example, they have to get vitamin D through their diet because they're not able to like be in
Absorbing
sunlight
it,
and
yeah.
convert it like we can as humans. So there's probably, I need
Mm-hmm.
to do more research on this, but there's probably going to be some of that going on. However, what they're getting in their eyes could very well be beneficial. So we talked about circadian rhythm and the fact that in our homes in general, I'm just as bad about this as anybody else. My whole house is full of blue lights, but I would very much love to switch out my lights to red lights, because we shouldn't have all these blue lights once the sun goes down, and it absolutely is going to affect our pets as well. So what they're getting through, their retinas going into their brain, yeah, there probably could be some benefits to red light therapy that way. I just don't know how much they're going to absorb because of their fur. I hope that's a good enough answer. I don't know.
I like it for my skin. I think it's great. So I feel like all of these things, they're worth a shot, right? Like they're worth a shot if you're, I don't know where you'd find it, if your veterinarian's offering it. I remember, just like the laser therapy that they use for a lot of things, for like injuries and cysts and tumors and pain and arthritis, like, those are laser, and, somebody started that and found a use for it. So I'm sure we'll see a use for red light therapy, just like we're seeing it so much in humans. And I love my Cleopatra mask that I put on at night, and I look like a robot, and my kids love it. And I think it's keeping me young and beautiful. So
There
I'm
you
here
go.
for it. I'm here for more research on red light therapy for pets.
Yeah, for sure. Bronwyn said her husband practices circadian rhythms, so now she's absolutely going down the rabbit hole. Yeah, I think it's,
Okay, can you explain to me what practicing circadian rhythms means?
yeah, I'm
I need to know what that
curious. Like,
means. What is, don't we all practice them without, I mean,
well, I think the idea, and Bronwyn can certainly chime in on what her husband does, but I think the idea is that we are to wake with the sun and set with the sun.
yeah.
That's kind of how we are all designed. We're not, there are nocturnal animals out there, certainly, but generally speaking, when we're talking about humans and dogs and cats, like we are designed to be up with the sun and down with the sun. And when we are out of sync with nature, Dr. Kelly Means talks about this so
That's
much.
so
I'm actually really
cool,
excited
Bronwyn.
to
Okay.
dive into her book. Yes, and watching, that is one of the things that you are supposed to do first thing in the morning before you do anything else, is get sunlight in your eyes. And watching the sun go down can actually change your metabolism, if I
Oh
remember
my
that
gosh,
correctly.
so cool. So for those
Yes.
who are not on Facebook, Bronwyn says he gets up first thing in the morning to see the sunrise, then he watches the sun go down. Does that mean he goes to sleep, or does he just watch it and then continues about his evening? I need to know more about this, because at least right now, like the sun comes up in El Paso like 6 a.m., but then it's down by 6. So does that mean I'm gonna be in bed by 6? Because my kids won't let it. I'd be super down for that, but my kids are gonna be like, nah,
So I think ideally you're going to turn on red lights instead of blue
just
lights for
watches it
anything you need after the sun goes
afterwards.
down. Yes. So for however long you need to stay up. But I am right there with Bronwyn. It doesn't fit me either. And one of the things that I learned recently about myself is that am, I believe I am an empath. I am a very empathetic person. I don't even know how to gauge my own emotions sometimes. Like I'm that empathetic. And um, when everyone else goes to sleep, it's like that's when I feel most productive because I can actually, it's
Ah.
like the whole world's like during the day, the whole world is going on and on and on, and I can't focus and I can't. And so I've always been a night owl, and I have never really thought about why. Even like trying to work, when I work during the day, I get stuff done, but I'm like constantly going from here and here and here and here and here. And I'm like, am I ADHD? I don't know. But then once the sun goes down, once people are calm, once the whole world isn't in a freaking um, cyclone, I feel like I can
Yeah.
focus so much. And I haven't done anything differently, but the sun has gone down. And I can focus so much and I can get so much more done. And I
Yeah.
think that's why.
I hear that in my house for sure. Like the pets are really good. They're the first ones to be ready to go to bed. Like half the time I can't get them. I'm in bed by 8 too, Bronwyn, just because my kids force me to be. Otherwise, they won't go to sleep because they have FOMO. So I basically just go to sleep and I work better. And the pets are ready to go by 8. Like I can't even get them out to the go potty. Like they don't want to have anything to do with the outdoors after a certain time. Like for them, they really do practice that circadian rhythm where they're like the Satchmo, the newest edition, is ready to go at 6:30 every morning. And at 7 is probably the latest I can get him to go out. Like he will not go out. He doesn't want to, especially if it's dark and a little wet out there. He doesn't want it. And when I write at night, it really does feel like I am more creative and more like the words come easier to me.
Yeah,
So yeah, I hear
I
that. I
understand
hear
that.
that.
I understand that. So what is red lights in the home is a question. You can actually switch out because pretty much everything in our homes right now is blue light, including the light coming off of your devices, your TVs, everything. So you can actually switch out light bulbs to red light bulbs. And oh, Instagram is like, oh, there you go. So you can switch those out on your devices. There are generally settings, and you can just Google this or ask ChatGPT how to change this on your specific device. You can set different prompts to switch your screen to a red light instead of a blue light. So, like on my phone, I hit the power button 3 times and then I get a prompt and I can change the color filter and then my screen goes red. So I'll do that um, at night sometimes when I remember. But like just turn the TV off basically. Don't watch the TV at least a couple of hours before going to bed is generally the consensus. But you know, it's the world we live in. Read a book is I think what most people say.
Yeah, read a book. I
By
mean, I don't know,
candlelight.
write, journal by candlelight. Like get your
Yeah.
Bridgerton on. I don't know. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
literally, not figuratively. Yeah, don't watch Bridgerton. Just like
Right.
pretend you live in Bridgerton times and you're like
Lovely.
journaling and you're, what is it? Sitting in the reading room, in the sitting room.
How
Yeah,
cute would that be?
I
How cute.
know. I mean, this is what I dream of. Bronwyn goes to sleep listening to alien movies, so she's out of this conversation. Yeah, I mean, I listen to my kid chat the whole night until I finally fall asleep. And I actually work at night a lot, so I am blue light special at my house every night. So yeah, I gotta maybe check my device and see if my computer will do that automatically so that I don't forget. But yeah, I mean, it's hard because everything is set up like we said about the environment. We'll wrap up, I guess, now, but everything in our environment is kind of set up to challenge these healthy behaviors.
It is.
We are connected constantly, EMFs everywhere. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we brought that up last week, because ideally we would turn our Wi-Fi off when we're not using it. But
yes.
and even one of the things that I remember, I think this might have been Dr. Odette Suter, like put your wherever your pet beds are, like make sure they're not close to an outlet. And like so there's all kinds of different like we can really get nitty-gritty. But there's already so much to work with what we've talked
Well, I
about.
have a pet bed. Oh, no, but that's really good because I have a pet bed right next to an outlet right now for the little one, the little crazy one. And I'm going to move it immediately. And like, so that's a super easy thing to do. And those are the kinds of things I like because those little things add up too. And it's not like you're spending money, you're just moving something, or you're just turning off your Wi-Fi, or you're, feeding an hour earlier so that you're doing it with the sun. Whatever it is, like these little things make a big difference. So,
Yeah, they
I
do.
hope that you guys I hope you guys have some takeaways between last week and this week. Next week, we are going to be live. We haven't decided on a topic yet. If you have any recommendations, please let us know. If you have any questions, comments, please comment. We'll still see this after we wrap up here. And go move your pet beds away from outlets and feed the best food you can afford. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes, you too. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and I
Thank
don't know,
you.
don't go crazy on Black Friday. I don't know. Should we say, I don't know. Be very mindful
What?
on Black Friday.
Real quick. So next Monday is actually Cyber Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
should talk about what we would buy if we had $100 or $200. What we would
Oh my
buy.
gracious.
Wouldn't that be
Oh my
good?
gracious. That would be so difficult. Okay.
Okay, so
That's
give us
very
a budget.
tough.
Well, let's think of a budget and we'll
Yeah.
talk about what we would buy if we had this money to just drop. What would we buy first and why?
Yes.
And which brand we would get because obviously that's an important part of it. And if you guys have any like specific products you're in the market for, let us know. Maybe we can do a little research with you because that would be fun to do on, Cyber
Yeah.
Monday. Do not spend all your money on nonsense. Don't fall for the marketing traps. Research the products you buy before you buy them. Ooh, $500. Bronwyn
500.
says $500. I think that's fair. I think that's perfect.
Okay.
I might have a hard time spending $500 because I don't feel like I need any pet
Oh
products
my
now, but they have to be pet
gosh.
products and it's $500. So I might just stock up on some food, but that's a cop out. So we have to choose at least three products.
Okay. Because $500 doesn't go far. I'm like, only
Well,
$500? And
no, but
Isabel's
if
like,
I were to say
what?
like
500?
$500 of food, five hundred
Right.
dollars of food, then it's like, okay, that's a cop out. But
Yeah.
$500, something that you could use right now that you need. Exactly, food. That's exactly what I would spend $500 on if I had. Well, I just
I'm
won a $250 shopping spree at Only Natural Pets, only location in Boulder, Colorado, and I went in and was like, I need a dog and I need a food that's good for cats and dogs, freeze dried raw. Lead me, and they had like two options, and I bought one of them, $250 worth. So I mean,
yeah.
I kind of already did this challenge, but this time I'm going to do it with like research and like what I need. And it could be pet products, it could be of any sort, it could be supplements, it could be accessories. I already know what I already know. I already know a couple for my cat, and I'm going to
Yeah.
run
I
out of money quick.
I same. I'm like, how am I gonna stick to $500?
Shout out to my friend Erin at Wildcat because I just interviewed Wildcat actually. That's probably where I'm going to spend some money in this virtual pretend shopping spree. Wildcat founder Erin is adorable. I met her at the CFA Expo in Cleveland. She was my guest for this week, so stay tuned. That drops tomorrow morning on YouTube. It is a Thanksgiving specific episode, but we talk about cats. We talk about our love of cats. We talk about rebranding cats. We talk about people who say they hate cats. All of that. So if you're a cat lover, please check that out. Who's on your show this week?
Brad Clinthorne from Steve's Real Food is going to be on tomorrow. We talked about the history of Steve's Real Food and why nutrition is so important, how they were like the first, I think, commercially available raw food, no synthetics. They use raw goat's milk in all of their food formulations, which I love. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Do you know why I'm reacting?
No.
That's the food I spent that's the food I spent $250 on. Full circle.
Yeah.
That's exactly the
Yes.
food I bought. I have a box full of bags of it. It's such great food. I'm so excited to try it with my pets. They have not had it yet because I have to do a little unboxing as a thank you to Blog Pause and to Only Natural Pet. But yes, that's the food that I got. So
Yay.
I can't wait to watch this episode.
Yes, I am. I'm really excited for it. I mean, I'm excited for a lot of episodes, but if you're curious about that HTMA testing that we talked about earlier, last week's episode was with Chelsea Kent, and we did talk about it. So go check that out too.
Yeah, remember that we both have independent podcasts covered in pet hair, the Pet Parenting Reset. You can find us on any of the podcasting platforms you love. Make sure you rate us, give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and give us some love on social media, and follow and review us on the podcasting platforms. That really does help your creators, as does using their affiliate links, which I think Jessica will put in the comments.
I can do that.
Put your affiliate link in the comments.
Well,
Yes.
I'll put it in my stories because you can't click in the comments on Instagram.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you can on Facebook. Put it on Facebook and YouTube, or at least put it on this chat right here.
Oh,
put it on this chat.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, before we log off.
Oh.
So yeah, guys, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Don't over-treat your pets. Avoid the raw doughs and the coffees and the alcoholic beverages. If you have guests coming over, make sure they don't put their purses with xylitol gum on the floor. You know, the usual stuff that can get your pet into trouble. No cooked bones, blah, 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 blah. Nobody wants to end up at the emergency vet this week. And we did do something about this topic about Thanksgiving foods last year. So check out the Pet Parenting Resets feed so that you can check out one of those conversations that we had last year around this time about foods you can and cannot feed to your pets around the holidays. And the Parsley Pet link is in the YouTube comments, and we'll add it to Facebook.
Yeah, I'll go into Facebook. You're gonna make me go into Facebook. I'm done.
And
with
then
Facebook.
once we end the stream, you'll see it. We can always add it to Facebook later. Well, thank you guys again. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Bronwyn, for participating and for helping.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, so much. I appreciate you so much. She's so valuable and full of information, and so thankful for her.
Yes, and I'm going to have her on my show next year. I promise. Yes, we're thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for you, Jessica.
Oh,
love you.
I'm thankful for you.
And look, and Kira's here to say hi.
Oh,
Kira, say hi.
Hi, Kira.
No, she's gone.
She's like, I keep hearing my name. And I heard something about
Kira, that's my old girl,
Steve's.
13 and a half. What's that?
She heard something about Steve's Real Food.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, I heard food.
Foods that they can and cannot eat. She's like, turkey? Tell me more about turkey.
She
wants to go for a walk. That's really what's happening. She wants to go for a walk. It's 4 o'clock. That's when we walk. So bye, everybody.